Hey team, hope you're all doing well. Today's topic is really important, I think, because we all as athletes, we're always striving for better results. Discuss what to do after a disappointing race. I know a lot of you out there, practically everybody that watches these videos in some form or fashion is highly disciplined in what they're doing. They're very driven, very motivated for success. And I think the most important thing that you can do after a disappointing race is to not give that bad race too much of your attention. Spend an hour or two looking over what the things that went wrong in the race, what went right in the race. The main thing to keep in mind after a disappointing race is to make sure that you spend more of your attention, more of your time focused on what went right in the race. What were the things that you know now that you can correct? Maybe you went out far too aggressive in the first mile. Maybe you were running a 5K and you were trying to break a 17-minute 5K, but you went out at 16-minute 5K pace the first mile of the race. Or maybe it was like 15:50 5K race pace in the first mile. So now you have to run more conservative in that first mile of your 5K race. Okay, so what to do after a disappointing race is to calculate the things that went right. Maybe just write down 10 things that went right in the race, 10 things that went wrong in the race, and what you can do now that you've recognized the things that you've done in your past races, so that you don't continue to make those same mistakes in your future races. One of my biggest mistakes in high school, I was just having a discussion with my nephew at one of his track meets, and we were talking about the 1600 event. In high school, I was trying to break 4 minutes for the mile, or basically the 1600 meters. I know it's 1609 meters is the full mile, but in high school we consider it the mile. So I would always go out that first lap in the mile. Not always, but in most cases, it was usually 60 seconds to 61 seconds because I was always trying to break 4 minutes. Looking back, it was far too aggressive. I was running way too fast for my capability. Okay, I didn't have sub 4 minute mile pace, sub 4 minute mile capability. The fastest mile I ever ran was 4 minutes and 22 seconds when I was in college at the University of Florida. So, but looking back, I know now that I was spending a lot of time on my disappointment after those poor races. I would go out far too fast, and I would focus on the things that went wrong. But now, the more time I spent in the sport, I realized the importance of focusing on what you can do now that the race is over. So what you do after a disappointing race is you write down, make a note, have a notepad, write down things that went right, things that went wrong, things now that you can correct, so that in the future races you won't continue to make those same mistakes. And it's important to make mistakes. You're not just going to go out and set a new personal best every single time you race. Okay, there's going to be plateaus, there's going to be ups and downs, there's going to be times where you're chasing a personal best for a long period of time. Okay, when I ran 2:19 for the marathon, I trained for another decade, another 10 years, trying to run faster than 2 hours and 19 minutes and 35 seconds. And the closest I could get was 2 hours and 26 minutes. So sometimes you're going to just drop some phenomenal times, and it's going to take a long period of time for you to continue to succeed. The main key attribute of the world-class athletes I've trained with over the years, whether they were from Europe, Kenya, these other athletes, is that they don't spend too much time on a poor result, poor workout, or a poor race. They're always looking for the next effort, the next race, the next workout. So maintain your enthusiasm. Don't let a set of poor races or a set of poor workouts dictate your overall success rate and your overall enthusiasm for what you're doing. Because the majority of you that are watching these videos are highly disciplined, driven, motivated athletes. You know how to start and finish a goal. You're goal oriented, you're motivated, so you know what it takes to succeed. But also, that being said, I know the majority of you that are watching these videos are going after some very, very competitive times. Some of you are trying to lose weight. You're trying to run a specific time. Maybe it's to earn a Boston Marathon qualifying standard, or maybe to achieve an Olympic trials qualifying standard in the marathon or in a track and field event. So just know that what you're doing is not going to be easy. So it's not going to happen overnight. You're going to have some disappointments along the way. And know that there's ebbs and flows, and the world's top distance runners, middle distance runners, sprinters, all go through trials and tribulations in their preparation. I've lost count of the amount of times where I was disappointed in races over the years, but I know that if I would have let those disappointments get the best of me, or if I would have wanted the goals that I wanted, or the times that I wanted to run too quickly, if I didn't have that long-term vision, if I didn't have that delayed gratification, that belief in delayed gratification that you absolutely need in middle to long distance running, if I didn't have that, then I wouldn't have achieved the types of times that I dropped. And yes, I had a lot of times where I was beaten by athletes that were much better than me, that were just simply more prepared, more mature, and ready to run faster on that particular day, on those days that they beat me. So be humble, make sure that you continue to focus on the fundamentals. Know that running at goal race pace for long periods of time takes training a higher percentage of your weekly volume, training at a higher intensity, and not running too much of that volume too easily. Okay, again, building your endurance is key, but you also have to have that strength and stamina in these 5K, 10K longer races, marathon, half marathon events. But just don't get so disappointed that it ruins your enthusiasm for what you're doing. That's the trait of a world-class professional, either a world-class athlete or a professional level athlete, is they do not spend that much time on a disappointment. Okay, yes, analyze some of the things that you could have corrected in the race, write down what some of the things that went right and some of the things that went wrong, and make sure that you follow through on those disappointments. Okay, follow through on those tests that you had to go through in your training and in your racing. Okay, every successful athlete, successful individual, regardless what avenue they're in, have always experienced setbacks and failures along the way. But the difference is they persist. Okay, you're not going to get a phenomenal, great result, a new personal best. You're not going to make significant changes in what you're doing if you don't have immense work ethic and your willingness to stay persistent and consistent with what you're doing. So I hope this video makes sense for you all that are wondering, how do you overcome disappointment after a race. One, expect the fact that you're going to have disappointments because you're going after a great result. Okay, it's not easy to race. Anybody can go out and run easily for a few minutes or a few miles or even for a few hours, but it's a different thing when you're running anaerobically. You're running at a much faster pace and a much more aggressive effort. It's a different strategy that you have to use both mentally as well as physically. And one of the traits that you have to make sure that you're following through on is again, follow and study what the world's best distance runners do. Okay, these athletes, yeah, they may get disappointed, but they don't stay disappointed. Okay, they are always consistently focused on the next race, the next workout, the next performance. So I hope this is helpful for you. Feel free to leave me a comment below. I will definitely reach back out to you and respond. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so when I make a new video, you'll be notified of it. And I look forward to talking with you all in the next video.